Well, good afternoon, and welcome to From the President's Desk. You will recall that this is the show where we take advantage of the opportunity to keep you updated on events and happenings and programs here at Lincoln University. We often have special guests who can also join us in that conversation and bring good news, other good news to you. And I'm delighted today that we have Missy Bonnot, who is the Director of Economic Development with the Jefferson City Chamber of Commerce. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're really delighted to have you here. She also will take just a couple of moments to tell you a little bit about herself. I'm really, of course, mostly interested in where you went to college.
I am a Jefferson City native, and I did graduate in 1990 from Lincoln University, and I had the great honor of playing softball for Mary Beth Oshner at Lincoln University while I attended there.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Well, that's just great to find out. I was just with Betty Kemna, who is the AD today, at an earlier meeting, and we were talking about softball and the softball program. Excuse me, and it's doing very well this year, so you'd be delighted to know that.
Well, what's very interesting also is my softball coach, Mary Beth, also teaches my daughter at Lewis and Clark middle school, and she is retiring this year, so she will no longer be teaching after this year.
I heard she was retiring, but I didn't know she had your daughter in her classroom.
She
I
sure
love
does.
That story. That's really very interesting. Thank you.
Makes me feel a
for
little
sharing.
old, but
No, not at all. You certainly don't look old. You look wonderful. So I'm excited about the conversation we're going to have today because, of course, as president of Lincoln University, I'm really quite excited about the strategic plan rollout that's taking place with the Jefferson City Chamber today. I will tell you right up front that the community is really invigorated by this activity, and it's all the buzz every time I go out into the community. So
we have really been excited, Dr. Mahoney, about the public participation through this process. Currently, through all of our action teams and all of our subcommittees, we have close to 500 individuals participating in this transformation process. So that's probably the most exciting part of this for me.
I would agree with you. It's just very, very wonderful to behold. The community is so much on one page and looking forward to these discussions all the time, and the discussions take place in the committee meetings and anywhere else in the coffee shops or pizza parlors around the city and in all of the downtown as you're walking along shopping. So it's really, as I said, really incredible. So let's see if we can help our viewers learn a little bit more if they don't already know about what's taking place.
Okay.
And so I think you've been working on the strategic plan. It's the Economic Development Strategic Plan.
Correct.
And what do you call it, and why did the Chamber start this initiative?
Okay, well, we had a hard time coming up with a name for this plan, and we wanted to come up with something a little more exciting than just the Economic Development Strategic Plan. That sounds pretty boring. And so as we initially started this process, really we started thinking about what we wanted this plan to do. And really it is to transform our community. And so we thought transformation was just the absolute perfect name to call this plan. But really we started on this about a year ago, talking to our board and talking to the community about we needed to do some things differently in our community to shake things up a little bit. And so we took this idea to our board, which you are a part of, and really started thinking about how could we go through this process and what did we need to do. And so we hired a firm out of Austin, Texas called TIP Strategies to help us with this process, and we've been just quite delighted with the work that they've provided to us. We had our big rollout in January amidst a big snowstorm at the Miller Performing Arts Center, and even with 7 inches of snow on the ground, we had about 400 people come out to hear about the rollout of this transformation plan. So that should have been a real key to us, an indicator that there was a lot of excitement about this plan.
As you think about assessment measures, I would think that that was a strong indicator. 400 people in that terrible bad weather, I was one of them, I'm delighted to say, and I thought it was important enough to take that. It took me more than 1/2 hour to get home that night. It usually takes me about 10 minutes. And so, but it was well worth that extra time, because I thought that was a very, very interesting and successful event. So what are some of the key areas that we are focusing on in this plan?
Well, we have developed a phase 1 and a phase 2 of this approach. And phase 1, those were items that we really felt like we could get a lot of things accomplished in a short period of time. For example, the festival district. We've talked about the opportunity to rope off certain sections of the downtown area and have a festival district. And what that means is you can go from establishment to establishment, receive your wristband, receive your cup, walk around, network, visit with individuals, and have adult beverages. And I'm happy to say that the City Council passed an ordinance not too awfully long ago to put that festival district in place. So that's one of the priority 1 items that we've been working on. Now the priority 2 items are much longer process, and we put in place 9 action teams that we created from 30 different opportunities that have been identified that people are very interested in Jefferson City. For example, the Missouri State Penitentiary. That is one action team that is now in place that is just specifically working on the MSP site and how to get more development in that area. And we have 9 action teams just like that. Lincoln University action team. That is something that is very important to our community. Lincoln University is an economic engine to our community, and we wanted to focus on raising the awareness of Lincoln University in our community. And like I said, we have 9 action teams just like those that I mentioned.
And so I'm intrigued at the phase 1 opportunities that rolled out, because they were easy and quick, relatively speaking, to implement. And then the phase 2 items were identified because they would take a little longer, but the action teams are planning those. Did you say what the time window is for planning those, delivering those plans?
We started the process, we had the rollout in January, and we started working on the action teams in February. And so I would say we are getting pretty close to over halfway through our work with the action teams, which is a little bit scary because we still have a lot of work to do. So we started in February, and we really need to end our work July 31st.
Oh, I think that's wise, though, to have a very tight window like that. And there seems to be great enthusiasm for those action teams. Is there good enthusiasm for the Lincoln action team?
Absolutely. That's probably one of the most beneficial, a little surprising, but our action team has just really embraced the Lincoln University whole concept. We have 4 subcommittees that have rolled out of that action team. I think that is the most populated action team. We have over 50 members that have signed up to be on that committee, and the enthusiasm has just been overwhelming.
I'm feeling that. I'm on several of those subcommittees, and of course on the action team, the LU action team writ large, and I think it's rolling out very, very successfully. Great number of Lincoln University graduates who are there, and that's always interesting. But of course you also want others in the community who are interested in what should happen at Lincoln University, about Lincoln University, in the area of Lincoln University, and certainly as it impacts the entire Mid-Missouri community. And so I agree that there's good enthusiasm. Can you talk just a little bit more about what those 4 projects are, 4 subcommittees are focusing on?
Absolutely.
Oh, terrific.
Lincoln University Village.
Okay.
That I know is near and dear to your heart. One of the challenges with Lincoln University students is there aren't a lot of restaurants retailers, establishments that those students can walk to within a close proximity to Lincoln University to be able to take advantage of the restaurants and things like that, things that college students want to do. And so we are looking at a Lincoln University concept that could include housing, that could include retailers, that could include new restaurants within a close proximity to Lincoln University.
It sounds very interesting. We have been interested in that for several years, and old-time alums like yourself, you may be too young to remember the Foot, but they do hearken back, as it were, to the good old days where they could just walk down the hill and be somewhere to get food or things like that. So,
right.
And I'm just most intrigued about the possibility of housing in this area, available housing for students, but also for, well, for undergraduate students, but also for married and graduate students. So I think there's ample need to continue that discussion.
As well as the young faculty that you employ at Lincoln University.
That's right, that's right. And so if it's affordable, then that would be terrific for them. Let's see, what are some of the others?
The LU Annex at the St. Mary's redevelopment.
Okay.
We know that St. Mary's have announced that they are building a new hospital off of 179, a $200 million hospital, which will be great for our community. But in the process of them moving to that new facility, they will be vacating a very historic, a very large hospital located right in the central part of our community. And so what are we going to do with that 375,000 square foot facility that sits on 9 acres in our community?
That'll be very interesting to look at, and I hope I have piqued the interest of our viewers, and so much so that after we take the break that we're about to take, you'll come back and we will elaborate on both those two, and the 2 others we'll cover briefly as well. So I hope that you will stay with us and return. I look forward to talking to you once we return.
Very good.